All right, so the first round of the 2021 NFL Draft concluded. The Raiders had the 17th pick, and they had a pick that surprised a lot of people, including myself. They picked offensive tackle Alex Leatherwood with the 17th pick, and this pick has gotten a lot of backlash over the last couple of hours, mainly because fans expected more. Now, Alex Leatherwood, he went to Alabama. He has two national championships under his belt. He is known to be a great offensive lineman in terms of run game, which is good for the Raiders because obviously having Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs in your backfield, you need a good offensive line. But I think fans expected more because this guy wasn't even expected to be a first-round draft pick. So the Raiders are getting a lot of backlash. So I guess more in general, this draft was all about quarterbacks. Obviously there was the big five, starting with Trevor Lawrence. There was Trey Lance at number 3, Zach Wilson at number 2, Mac Jones, Justin Fields. All these guys got drafted. And the Raiders, I expected them to get a defensive player in the first round. Micah Parsons was talked about a lot as up there as one of the people possibly getting drafted, but he obviously got drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. So yeah, then I didn't really know who they pick. I kind of maybe expected an offensive lineman, but it was a guy I never even heard of, Alex Leatherwood. A lot of people didn't even hear. And a lot of people are disappointed about this because this guy's value is terrible. Okay, I'm not saying he's a bad player. I think he's a good player, but value and being good is not the same thing. Value is in the draft is where you're getting picked, and this guy easily, the Raiders could have gotten him in the second with their 48th pick, overall pick in the draft. But instead, they decided to take him in the first round when they probably could have gotten someone better. So it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And, a lot of people, like I said, are mad about this. I just think there's some pros and cons. I think a pro is he's a great offensive lineman in terms of run game. I mean, when you have Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs, you're going to need that, like I said. But he's just valued, not as a first rounder, so it doesn't make any sense to draft that. And obviously the Raiders are notorious for having oddball first-round picks, including last year. Henry Ruggs, no one expected that whatsoever. So, I mean, am I happy about this? No, I was a little bit upset about it. And I think, it's not a terrible pick, but it's definitely, it could have been significantly better. And, people are just flaming him, and I think he's a good player, but, we'll see. It's kind of like a replacement for Trent Brown. I mean, we lost a lot of offensive linemen. We still have Colton Miller, a pretty young offensive line right now. But, I mean, we'll see. It was really just a weird situation, seeing them pick him. He was not expected to be a first-round pick, like I said. He was the 62nd best player on the draft board, in terms of, where he was ranked. So with that, that's pretty much 2 rounds. So, doesn't really make any sense. And the Raiders do tend to draft Alabama players. So I guess that probably had some sort of factor in it. But, I just don't get it. I mean, there were so many other players that they could have gotten. Yeah, I just, it doesn't make really any sense to me. I hope he pans out. I think we could use a good offensive line. I think if he pans out, I'll feel less bad about it. But I think we just need to, take advantage of these next rounds and get defensive players. And there was speculation they'd trade down. And there's a lot of Aaron Rodgers rumors going around, and the Raiders' name is actually being put into that. It didn't really have much to do with the draft, but we can see what will happen with the Raiders and Aaron Rodgers because, I mean, I don't think they'll get him likely, but we'll see. But, I guess from what I've heard from Mayock, trading down in the draft was virtually impossible. I mean, there were a lot of good players in this draft. It's just when you have the 17th pick, that's halfway through the first round pretty much. It's going to be hard to scout out these guys a lot of times. And, looking at just the Alabama situation, Josh Jacobs at number 24 in 2019, Henry Ruggs number 12 last year, now Leatherwood, and they also do like Clemson players, obviously Cleveland Ferrell. Hunter Renfro is a Clemson alum. And looking at grades, a lot of people are giving this Fs. But the Raiders believe in him, and I think if there's a will, there's a way. If they really had reason to believe that he was going to be good, then maybe he is. Who knows? But yeah, we'll see. And it's also hard too, because with offensive linemen, it's hard to know how good they are sometimes because there's like not really many statistics except for like sacks allowed and stuff like that. But I mean, for what I've seen, he's good. He has 2 national championships under his belt, contributing to that. So we'll see. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on this first round pick. Obviously, 6 more rounds, so we'll see what happens. But let me know your thoughts and go Raiders.